As always, I have my trusty steed Cooper watching over. Let's get started. This is Coral, and I am going to be working on another jacket. I'm thinking of including this t-shirt. That's it, I'm moving to Vermont. This cut up flannel that I used in another project, I used the sleeves in another project to make a jacket. This incredible Bernie sweatshirt because Bernie's from Vermont and he is a boss and we love this meme, right? And these sleeves that I cut up from another jacket where I used the flannel. So let's get started. Day 2, getting ready to sew on the sleeve of the jacket to the flannel. It's time for some R&R. We are getting somewhere. I stitched this on, but I have to come back and fix this area. I didn't get close enough to the seam. And this side is looking pretty nice. I'm basically figuring this out as I go. I have stitched this sleeve onto the flannel. And what I did was I rolled the flannel and the sleeve twice and then just sewed around it. It worked except for this one little section here. So I will seam rip this and try to sew that again. On the adjacent sleeve, I'm doing the same thing. Is it perfect? No, because I'm a beginning sewer. Is it going to work? I think so. It might take some more time. I did have an issue where, going over double, triple seams where it's thicker, I am using a needle that is supposed to be okay for canvas, denim, that sort of thing. So I can tolerate thicker fabrics. And if you didn't know there were different needles, I really didn't either until very recently. So I do have a needle that should be able to tolerate the corduroy, the flannel together, but it's really thick. And what happened was it kind of bunched up on the bottom from my bobbin and it stopped, the machine just stopped working. So I had to take it out and clean up the bobbin area. So I will go back and just continue stitching around here and then open it up and cross my fingers that I did something that worked and that the sleeves kind of are the same length. We will see soon enough. My approach is give it a try, and if you don't succeed the first time, seam rip it and try again. And if it doesn't succeed the second time, rinse and repeat until you figure it out. And it's okay. We've got the time. All right, I just finished stitching around that second sleeve, so I'm just going to cut the thread, and now I will walk it over to my mannequin. This trusty mannequin. I like this mannequin. I got it on Amazon. I can't pin on it, so that kind of stinks, but it holds my clothing that I make, which is kind of what I needed. I used to just put them on hangers, which worked too. It worked. Let's see, how did we do? I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just looking for no holes. And I think I did that. Good. Okay, that one looks good. What I will have to do is just make sure that both of the sleeves are the same length. With it kind of looks like it is. Now again, I still have to go in and fix this. Will I make mistakes? Absolutely. Is it gonna stop me? Absolutely not. Well, I seam ripped a little bit and look, I was able to stitch it back. What did it take me? 10 more minutes maybe? An experienced sewer, that would have taken, well, they wouldn't have had to redo it, but I am not experienced and I am figuring things out. So I'm very happy so far with how that's looking. And now my plan is to cut up just the outline here of Bernie on this sweatshirt. And I'll use the rest of the sweatshirt for another project. And I think maybe incorporate part of this t-shirt that I got at the thrift store into the back side as well. Just be creative, see where my mind takes me. But I mean, come on, Bernie. This was a great meme, and finding this for $2.99, I had to have him. Now comes the fun part, the creative part. I feel like putting on those sleeves, that was the challenging part for me. And cutting out things and then sewing them onto the backs is the more creative and fun part. Now, mind you, when I was making my Good Morning Beautiful jacket with the rooster, sewing on and learning how to applique on the pieces was difficult for me as a beginning sewer. So it's not like this is easy, it's gonna go fast. Sewing for me is not about going fast. It's about taking the time to figure things out. I've got JoJo behind me. And just being in the moment. So this part is exciting, but I also don't like to rush it because this is where lots of exciting energy comes into play. What do you see out there, buddy? You see something? Always an exciting adventure with my two dogs. I just started pinning on Bernie to the back of this shirt, jacket, shacket, whatever you want to call it. I love the camouflage with Bernie's jacket. It really is complimentary. It was kind of made for this, don't you think? All right, I've been messing around a little bit with placing of this cutout Bernie Sanders. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the name out and put that on the front left part of the pocket to kind of look like, you know, a name tag on the front pocket. And then I cut out that t-shirt. That's it. I'm moving to Vermont and I will work on rearranging that somehow on this. But that's my plan so far. We will see what happens at the end. You never know. Could be the same, could be completely different. I mean, come on. This just gives me all the happy feels. This is good. In my sewing space, I keep a hanging rack with all of the thrifted clothes that I currently have that I want to use. So I see the material. Sometimes it's very obvious that I want to use one. Sometimes it's not so. But as I was working on my newest shacket, we're gonna call it, that's it, I'm moving to Vermont with Bernie Sanders on the back. I saw this great thrifted shirt. I mean, it's in great condition. And I thought if I stuck the Bernie on this cuff and cut this out and sew this up here, that's just gonna look really kind of polished and sharp. That's my thought. So you never know where you're gonna get a little ounce of inspiration. I think the first thing I needed in order to do this was some time to go to a thrift store and just see what speaks to me and see what I could get good deals on, because that's important. I just took a pair of scissors and cut the entire cuff off. I tried to keep the seams intact. I'll go in and do a little bit of finishing. But this way, my plan is to just find a good place to put this, cut around and just do some seams around the entire, just to have a little bit of a rectangle to make it look like a name tag. I mean, it is his name. And we'll put that on the front left of the shacket. Bernie. I'm winding down today on my shacket, my shirt jacket. I did end up seam ripping the pocket that was over here completely off. And then I had a few holes because of course I did. So I decided to put a part of a pillowcase that I had leftover fabric from underneath, and I cut up a men's shirt because I kind of liked the way that blue looked on top. Still deciding if I'm going to put Bernie here as a name tag or on the sleeve. And the back I haven't done anything to yet, so I figured right now this was a good time to stop. I'm feeling happy, but I'm feeling done for the day, and I'll pick this up later on. Okay, we are back at it. This is a jacket I've previously made. I'm sticking it on our flannel shacket because I'm thinking instead of keeping the original flannel shirt shaped as it normally had been, I think I might cut it to the length of this jacket, the camouflage jacket. I kind of think that would make it look more like a jacket. So I will cut that up soon. The other thing I've been playing around with, let me take this off, is still deciding whether or not I'm going to stick my Bernie name tag here or on the sleeve. I also did an applique stitch. I'm not sure I love that. So I think it just makes it way too busy. I think I might, I don't know, take that off and maybe do that in black thread so it's not as obvious. I think I'll do that. And then I had shown you what I did with the pocket of the other men's shirt that I stuck on. I just didn't know if it was too much blue. I am just messing around. I'm messing around with what I have, and that's what you do when you are upcycling and reworking clothes to make it just feel right for you. And once it feels right, I feel like it's smooth sailing from there. You'll know when it's right. Until then, you just keep messing around. And that's part of the fun. And definitely part of the process. I ended up removing the white stitching and stitching it in black, which I do like a lot better, but that took way more time than I expected. Not taking the stitches out, but trying to stitch, and I have even, a good needle, I think, it's brand new, just trying to stitch. It kept clumping up the thread in the back and it would jam up my machine. So I think 4 or 5 times I had to restart, which was frustrating, but at least I think that's done. So I'm still debating where to stick this Bernie. I don't think I want to stick it over here. Do I want to stick it here? I don't think so. Maybe I don't hate that. I'm not sure. We'll play around a little bit more and just decide. All right, I did stick the camouflage jacket, which I've previously made, on top just to see if I do want to cut, in which I definitely do. And I was thinking I would trim it a little bit lower than this so I could kind of flip it up and do a seam. But what they did here is just 2 seams. They're not folding it or anything, and they're just allowing that fray. I love the fray. So I might cut it maybe just below or at this, and it's going to be easy since it's plaid and they're stripes, so I can just cut on the stripes and then just allow it to fray and make the finishing part much more simple, but it'll look cute. So yay. And as you can tell, on this jacket, I have the sleeves for the flannel that I have on the one I'm working on. And the jacket goes with the sleeves on our flannel. Go figure. I haven't pinned these words up yet that I cut, but I think this is where I want to place them. I did end up cutting the bottom of the jacket along this stripe. I haven't cut the front yet because I realized that if I followed it, it would go to the bottom of this hole, this buttonhole, which isn't like a big deal really, but I didn't know if I wanted it like that. So I have to figure out what I'll do. Not too big of a deal, but something to think about. There's always something to think about when you're upcycling and reworking a new piece of clothing. I just love this. I think this is so cute. I mean, if it makes you smile, that's a good thing, right? I'm thinking so. That's my approach. It makes me smile, so I think that's a good thing. All right, the day is getting dark, which means I'm done. I was able to sew on all of these patches. It was tricky, guys. I did an applique stitch, and I don't know if it's because I'm putting a t-shirt on a flannel and the t-shirt kind of moves a little bit. I had lots of problems, but I just kept readjusting and trying again. But all in all, I'm just being a little bit of a perfectionist. It's pretty good. Cooper thinks so, and Jojo thinks so. But on the front, I still haven't finished the front. I am working a little bit more on this. From the beginning of this video to now, you can see there are a little bit of changes. It's still not finished. I did applique a heart that I cut out of flannel. I just needed to see a little bit more just variety. It was too blue pocket and it wasn't working for me. I'm still deciding whether or not to put Bernie's name up here or on the sleeve, this guy. But I did applique it around in black. So I feel like that looks a lot better. I'm kind of leaning towards the sleeve. I did put on Instagram what people preferred, and it was pretty split. I think it was maybe higher percentage put it on the front than the sleeve, but we'll figure that out. And lastly, I did cut all the way around to make this jacket look more like a jacket and not like a flannel shirt. Yeah, so happy. It's looking good. It's looking better. This is day 2 working on it. Still not complete, but that's okay. And I kind of think like it's important for me to reflect on what worked today, what didn't work today. What did I learn? Lessons learned. The lesson is I need to make sure I always have a seam ripper handy, because I feel like seam rippers are something I am going to become very familiar with. As a beginner sewer, I'm going to make mistakes aplenty. It's just part of the learning process. And I know that, and I accept it, and I welcome it. But taking the seams out is pretty easy with a seam ripper. It's kind of a pain, but I just sort of embrace it and just take it in the moment and know it will end eventually. We're continuing with the shacket. And I think what I'm going to do is sew on part of this. I think this was the front here that I cut off, but sew that up here. Just it feels like a little bit more balanced now, so I'm liking that. What else? I'm not gonna put this on quite yet, Maybe, I don't know. I think it's gonna happen on the sleeve. That's my gut. But I wanted to show you what this camouflage jacket had that I really liked. This is the way it was finished originally, as it was intended, and I really like the way this looks. So I am going to try to copy that idea on the bottom of this. Now, these stitches here are just an embellishment. They are not holding anything together. They're just stitching through this one piece of fabric. But the double stitch, pretty fun, and it allows this fraying effect to happen all the way around. I just think it's a cute way to finish a jacket. So I'm gonna work on that. I might work on that piece today. I'm not sure if I definitely am, because you know what? I don't have the right color thread. I could do the white, I guess. I do have white on this, so I could do white down here. So maybe I'll work on that part of the project the project here. I just thought that was just a cute, it's like a cute fake seam. I mean, it's a real seam, but it's not serving a purpose as attaching anything or folding something under. I liked it. Yeah, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can just reinvent what we like on upcycled projects as such. Okay, I'm loving this more and more. So I have sewn this on with a white, just plain stitch, top stitch. And I did go around the bottom twice and have these two false seams, right? Sewn there, and I'm starting to get the frayed effect. This is going to take time. I was like rubbing, and it is roughing it up a little bit, but I think with some washing and some more pulling on the threads, more of that will happen. But I really think this could be a fun way to finish off the bottom of a jacket, especially one that you cut from a shirt. So it's a nice cropped jacket. I love that. And then the back, we still have, that's it, I'm moving to Vermont. And I think ultimately I have decided to put Bernie on the sleeve instead of the front. The reason being is it could, this will just stay up there. Okay, it does. I mean, it's not horrible. I just don't want it to look, I keep changing my mind. Why, I am not sure, but I do. I think at times, oh, definitely must put it up here. And then I think, oh, definitely must put it there. I don't know. Why is this? Again, there's no wrong answer. I don't know. My gut is saying sleeve. I'm gonna go sleeve, I think. After I do this, let me know in the comments what you would have chosen, because I bet the results will be 50-50. The top or the sleeve. We'll see what I decide. I'm not sure yet. I think we have finally completed our Bernie Shacket. I love it. I absolutely, hold please. Are you protecting us? Are you? I think we're gonna be okay. All right, all done. We have completed our Bernie Shacket. I just love the embellishments here. I don't know, I have a special thing with hearts. Yeah, like the biological heart, right? One of my sons was born with a congenital heart defect, and it is February, which is Congenital Heart Defect Month. And now that I've started sewing, I haven't incorporated a heart into every piece, but I have on multiple pieces. If it kind of speaks to me and the design happens organically. So There's my heart, makes me happy. We have on the back, that's it. I'm moving to Vermont with Bernie Sanders. And we ended up putting Bernie on the sleeve. Hold again. This is the fun of having dogs when you're trying to film. I just took the dogs out for a walk. I'm in Vermont. It is bitter cold. That's why my cheeks are bright, bright red. So I just took a walk with them. You would think they'd be all sniffed out, settled. No, not the case. That's okay. But we're gonna get back to business here. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the quality of the materials that I picked up. Although I went to a thrift store, a secondhand store, I went to the resource store where all of the proceeds go to Habitat for Humanity. Fantastic. I love that. But even though you're shopping secondhand, it doesn't mean the quality's not going to be fantastic. In fact, this flannel here was made by the company, if I haven't shown it yet, Prana, which not that I accidentally, I had to sew over to put Bernie on, but Prana, P-R-A-N-A, really high quality outdoors company. And this jacket that I cut up, I think the company was Sanctuary. I hadn't heard that before, but I'm sure it's lovely. The detailing was fantastic on that. What I'm trying to say is you can find incredible pieces at a very low cost, sustainable for our world, our earth that we live in, that we have just one of. And, you know, it's zero waste. I will use all of these pieces from each article of clothing into something new. And it just has new energy and new life. And I don't know about you, but when I go to an art festival and I am around creatives who have been making things with their hands, there is an energy I feel in each of the pieces. And now we have added new life to this shacket with Bernie. So thank you guys so much for being here. If you're new here and you want to see some new upcycled, reworked designs, hit the subscribe button and follow along. I'd love to get to know you better. Take care. See you in the next video.